This is the OTB Network.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Horses and Courses. I'm Jean Wood. It has been a very busy week of stakes racing. We did finish up activities at Del Mar for the summer last week, middle of the week. We also, of course, opened Belmont Park with their fall championship meeting, kicking off with 4 Grade 1 stakes races this first weekend of the racing meet. We are, however, first going to start at Delaware Park, where they ran a couple of stakes races on Saturday, highlighted by the Grade 3 Endine Stakes for 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares sprinting. Let's head down to Delaware for the call of the Grade 3 Endine.
And they're off on the Endine. Super Duper Miss stumbled a bit at the start. She lost about 2 or 3 lengths there at the break, but Extra Heat loses nothing. She fires right to the front, but here comes Big Bamboo. Then a gap of a length and a half to Ivy's Jewel racing third, followed by Wired to Fly, and Super Duper Miss is your trailer as they move down the backstretch. Rick Wilson finds Extra Heat alone on the front end by a length over Big Bamboo. She'll have to come from off the pace today. Length and 3/4 to Ivy's Jewel racing third, then Wired to Fly and Super Duper Miss. Opening quarter 21-2 as they race into the turn. Extra Heat, she leads it by 3 parts over Big Bamboo. It's 3.5 to Ivy's Jewel, Wired to Fly, and 3 wide. Super Duper Misses trying to make a rally. They've got 3/8 to go, and Extra Heat, she's in front by a length and a half. Big Bamboo is trying to stay with her in second. 4 lengths to Ivy's Jewel, Super Duper Miss, and Wired to Fly as they turn for home. Half in, 44 seconds flat, and their work is cut out if they're going to catch this filly. Extra Heat, she's in front by 3.5. Ivy's Jewel on the inside rallies now, challenging Big Bamboo for second. A furlong to go. Extra Heat and Wilson, he's at work, but she's got a 4.5 length lead over Ivy's Jewel and Big Bamboo. She's quite a filly. Extra Heat will win it by 5. Ivy's Jewel getting second. Big Bamboo third. 109-3.
Extra Heat, this filly just continues to run and run well. She has been one of the most successful, if certainly underrated, horses of the last few years, putting away none other than Big Bamboo in the early going. Big Bamboo, a very serious 4-year-old sprinter. In fact, she was able to take off from her, tire her out so much that Ivy's Jewel was able to catch and pass Big Bamboo for the second spot. Big Bamboo holding on for the third spot as Extra Heat cruises to a 5+ length odds-on victory under regular rider Rick Wilson. Extra Heat, a 3-year-old bay filly, a daughter of Dixieland Heat from Begin by Hatchet Man, who was at one time purchased for $5,000, was bred in Kentucky by McLean Faringa et al., owned by Ken Taylor and Associates, trained by John Salzman, ridden to victory by Rick Wilson. Extra Heat completes the 6 furlongs of the Grade 3 Endine Stakes in 109-3. Continuing with stakes racing action at Delaware Park, the Owner's Day Handicap, $75,000 for 3-year-olds and up, going 1 1/8 miles. Let's head back down to Delaware for the call of the Owner's Day Handicap.
And they're off in the Owner's Day Handicap. That's an even start for them all. Staines Dream toward the outside, joined quickly by Concerned Minister. Ballarat in between horses. Scottish Halo toward the rail as they come by the finish line the first time. Concerned Minister gets an easy lead by 2 over Staines Dream. Scottish Halo tugging at the bit toward the inside. Do I Ever up on the outside. Ballarat in between horses in 5th. A gap of 2 to Full Brush and Mr. Business. Then 3 more to Lyricist, and the late running Grundlefoot is at the back. Racing around that first turn, opening quarter in 23-4. And on the front end, it's Concerned Minister by a length and 3/4 over Staines Dream. Up on the outside, Do I Ever. Scottish Halo still has the rail with Ballarat racing in 5th. Then a gap of 2.5 lengths. Full Brush moves up on the inside of Mr. Business. Then 2.5 to Lyricist, and Grundlefoot has about 11 lengths to make up as they move down the Delaware backstretch. It's still on the front end trying to dictate the tempo. Mario Pino and Concerned Minister by 2. Staines Dream in pursuit second. Length and 1/4 to Do I Ever. Toward the inside, Scottish Halo with Ballarat still in between horses in 5th. 2 to Full Brush and Mr. Business side by side. 2.5 to Grundlefoot and Lyricist now your trailer. After a half in 48-1. A very tepid tempo set by Concerned Minister, who's still going strong on the front end by 2.5 over Staines Dream. 2 lengths to Do I Ever. Toward the inside, Scottish Halo with Ballarat looking to move up between horses. horses. Then 3 lengths further back, the Full Brush. Grundlefoot has a lot of work to do, and time is running out as they make their way around the bend. Concerned Minister, the lead now opens up to 4 over Scottish Halo. Ballarat in between horses. Do I Ever, Scottish Halo. Full Brush is trying to kick in. Then comes Grundlefoot with his late run. Concerned Minister, though, has had it all his own way around the track with a furlong to go. The 6 and 1, 12 and 1. Concerned Minister and Pino still in front. Scottish Halo rallies in second. Full Brush takes over third. Then comes Ballarat, but it's Concerned Minister in front. Concerned Minister will win it. Scottish Halo a good second, followed by Full Brush and Ballarat.
Concerned Minister, another local horse in the Mid-Atlantic. This is a very impressive 4-year-old colt. In fact, a 4-year-old gelding. He was considered a classic prospect last year by his connections, did have some setbacks, came back with a couple of terrific races, but has been sidelined once more. Coming back to the races as the odds-on choice for local connections, the Meyerhoffs, and of course Buddy Delp, the trainer. Scottish Halo, a New York bred who was very competitive as a 2-year-old. He too has had some setbacks and some time off, but returning to the races with a nice effort, closing very well after getting into a little bit of a sharp start. He was taken back in the early going and re-rallied. Full Brush completes the top 3 with a rally from off the pace after an inside run into the stretch. The winner, Concerned Minister, a 4-year-old dark bay or brown gelding, is a son of concern from Star Minister by Deputy Minister. Bred in Maryland by his owner, Robert Meyerhoff. He is trained by Buddy Delp and ridden to victory by Mario Pino. Concerned Minister completes the 1 1/8 of the Owner's Day Handicap in 1:50 and 1. We're going to remain in the Mid-Atlantic next and head to Pimlico rather for the Bald Eagle Stakes, $100,000 for 3-year-olds and up, going a flat mile on the turf. Let's head down to Pimlico for the call of the Bald Eagle.
Magical Madness. And they're off. As expected, Rudy goes right out to the front from Fox's Flaginski. Sir Howard and Lorraine's Terms now in 4th. Magical Madness extreme outside. Dynamic Trick John's Call settles about 8 lengths from Rudy. Cherokee in the hills, and in Frank's honor in the back of the pack and some 9 lengths off the leader, who is Rudy. Rudy's taken in hand, wants to go a little faster there as they move around that first turn, but Rudy taken in hand by Omar Klinger to try to slow it up here. Leads it by 2 from Fox's Flaginski. Sir Howard is next in 3rd. Lorraine's Terms, Magical Madness, Dynamic Trick, John's Call is racing on the inside and 7 lengths from the pacemaker. Cherokee Hills is in the back along with In Frank's Honor, who's just behind John's Call, and In Frank's Honor some 7 or 8 lengths off the lead. Racing on up the backstretch, solid pace, 23, the opening quarter. The half went in 46 4/5 of a second as Rudy continues to control it. Fox's Flaginski second, Magical Madness, and next is Lorraine Terms on the inside. John's Call is asked to pick it up on the inside of Sir Howard. And we go back to In Frank's Honor, who's still racing down inside and some 8 to 9 lengths from the front, trying to gather momentum. Top of the stretch with a quarter to go at Pimlico. Rudy. Lorraine's Terms comes to tackle that one on the outside. John's Call still 6 lengths from the front. Here comes In Frank's Honor, who's mounting a rally, 1 off the inside. In Frank's Honor, John's Call try to rally in tandem, but there's still 5 off the lead. And here's Lorraine's Terms, who comes to the 16th pole and begins to widen. Extreme outside, Cherokee in the hills running a huge one. In Frank's Honor's right there battling for second, but Lorraine's Terms wins. Cherokee in the hills is second.
Lorraine's Terms pulling off a huge upset here. Lorraine's Terms was last seen on the racetrack at Saratoga, finishing 6th behind an Oscar for Burt in a 75 claimer. Heads down to the Mid-Atlantic, stalks the pace, makes a 2-wide move into the stretch, and draws off by 3 lengths at 24 to 1 in an extremely fast time. Big upset here. In the second spot, Cherokee in the hills, who at least had been fairly competitive in good allowance company in his most recent starts. Second choice in the wagering, In Frank's Honor, with Aaron Grider down in the Mid-Atlantic for the ride, picks up the 3rd spot. Disappointing effort here from the favorite John's Call. showed none of his usual early speed, had no rally whatsoever, and finished 7th in the field here. A very disappointing effort. I was not able to determine after this race what had happened. He had been found to have bled severely after his disastrous attempt at a repeat in the Sword Dancer at Saratoga on the 11th of August. He was taken out of the Man o' War in favor of this somewhat easier spot. I have not been able to determine what the plan is for the 10-year-old John's Call. This was his first try racing with Lasix, and it did not appear to have had much of a factor, or been much of a factor in the race. The winner, however, Lorraine's Terms, is a dark Bayer Brown 6-year-old horse by private terms from Lorraine Elaine by King's Bishop. Bred in Maryland by Sandra Bender and Howard Bender, he is owned by Sandra Bender and trained by Lawrence Murray. Ridden to victory by Larry Reynolds, Lorraine's Terms completes the flat mile on the turf course at Pimlico in a very quick 1:33.4. Next, we're going to be heading north just a little bit to New Jersey and the Meadowlands. They began their meeting last week, and they had a couple of very interesting stakes this past weekend, beginning with Friday night's Patterson, $100,000 for 3-year-olds and up sprinting. There were 5 entered, 2 scratched. It ends up with a short field of 3, but a good field nonetheless. Let's head down to the Meadowlands for the call of the Patterson.
And they're off in the Patterson. Disco Rico and Loaded Gun on the outside. Those two match strides early. 2.5 back Say Florida Sandy is last as they race down the backstretch. A speed duel up front. On the inside, Disco Rico. The favorite has the lead by a head. Loaded Gun on the outside with Dale Beckner right there and challenging. It's a gap of 3.5 lengths to Say Florida Sandy. The first quarter was in 21-3. They're on the far turn. Disco Rico has the rail and has the lead by 1/2 length. Loaded Gun on the outside is second. Say Florida Sandy inches up a closer third as they approach the top of the stretch. Disco Rico in front every step of the way, has it by 2 lengths. Now here comes Say Florida Sandy after a sensational half of 43-4. Down the stretch they come in the Patterson. Disco Rico in front by 2 1/4. Here comes Say Florida Sandy. They're past the 16th pole. Say Florida Sandy on the outside with Aaron Grider up to win the Patterson. The 7-year-old New York bred notches his 28th career victory in the Patterson at the Meadowlands.
Local favorite Say Florida Sandy, very impressive here in victory. The New York bred was scratched from the Forego and then from the Douglas MacArthur on opening day at Belmont, where he was assigned a high weight of 127 pounds. They decided to send him to New Jersey, and this New York bred 7-year-old horse ends up rolling to about 1.5 lengths victory as the lukewarm second choice behind Disco Rico, one of the top sprinting horses in the Mid-Atlantic circuit. Disco Rico had been away from the races since May. He was entered in a race earlier in the summer. That race did not fill. He has been out training very sharply for his return, but perhaps he needed this one. Aaron Grider, a perfectly timed ride on Say Florida Sandy, keeping him back behind the pace. These sprinters went out very quickly, as you see, with 21.64, 43.96. These horses, very good, very fast horses. They did not appear to be running that fast, covering a lot of ground. However, Disco Rico holds on for the second spot as Loaded Gun makes up a little bit more ground and finishes about 1 length behind him in the third spot. Another very nice effort from Say Florida Sandy, who has only missed the top 2 spots once this season, now at the age of 7. Say Florida Sandy, Dark Bay 7-year-old horse, is a son of Personal Flag from Alali Luck-A-Lali by Sweet Candy. Bred in New York by Sanford Bacon, currently owned by John Rotella and trained by Juan Surrey. Ridden to victory by Aaron Grider, Say Florida Sandy completes the 6 furlongs of the Patterson in 1:09 flat. Heading back to the Meadowlands for Saturday night's Comet Stakes, a $50,000 event for 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs. Let's head down to the Meadowlands once more for the call of the Comet Stakes.
And they're off, and Boston Common comes away quickly, but Final Table charges through and grabs the early lead. Final Table with Abarcoa draws clear by 2 lengths. Boston Common in the second spot Winning Talk is eager to run on the outside with the white cap, third at this point by a length. Little Badger is fourth and last as they race down the backstretch. The first quarter, 21-2. Two-year-olds on their way to the far turn, and final table draws clear now by 4. Boston Common in the second spot. Then comes Winning Talk, who's racing third as they come to the top of the stretch past the quarter pole. And it's final table. Set sail for home with the 2-length advantage, and Boston Common is in the second spot and inching up now to challenge. Down the stretch they come. Final table at the rail, digging in with Abarcoa in front. Boston Common on the outside, gaining with every stride. Those two, the winner from one of these two. Final table and Boston Common, final table, best by half a length.
Final table, this horse broke his maiden last time out at Saratoga. Prior to that, had run into heavyweight champ in his career debut, then finished ahead of Starland, who subsequently broke his maiden for Shug McGahee in his second career start. After that, he broke his maiden in impressive style, and now in his fourth career start, he is a stakes winner for Mark Hennig. This is a half-length victory as Boston Common was moving very well through the late going. He was carried out a little bit, but ended up with a good second place finish, 6 3/4 lengths back to Winning Talk, who was the lukewarm favorite in this field off of an impressive maiden win at the Meadowlands. But final table, who broke his maiden perhaps against a little bit better company, was able to show his best stuff with a very nice effort, setting the pace off the rail and having enough left in the drive under Ibarcoa. Final table, a 2-year-old dark bay or brown or bay colt, rather, a Son of Allen's Prospect from Very Busy by Maudlin. Bred in Pennsylvania by Barbara Brown. He is owned by Alan Brodsky, trained by Mark Hennig, and ridden to victory by Ibarcoa. Final table completes the 6 furlongs at the Meadowlands in 109-3. We are going to pause now for a brief break, and when we return, we'll be taking a look at some racing action from north of the border, as well as heading west and taking a look at some races in both northern and southern California. Please stay tuned.
This year, many thoroughbreds, no longer able to compete, will join the ranks of racing's homeless. The Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation and its supporters have been providing help and hope, creating opportunities where once there were none. The TRF, together with the racing industry, is meeting the challenge, taking care of their own. With your help, we can continue our saving mission, ensuring many more horses the welcome home they so richly deserve.
Welcome back, everyone. Next, we're going to be heading north of the border, where on Sunday the stakes feature at Woodbine the $1 million Atto Mile on the turf, a flat mile, 3-year-olds and up. Let's head to Woodbine now for the call of the Atto Mile.
They're off in the Atto Mile, and Wake at Noon broke like a bullet for the early lead. A firm success is right there numerous times, is toward the hedge. Hard Currency is on the outside, toward the rail, Quiet Resolve. Dawson's Legacy in amongst horses, as is Blast of a Storm and Slough Valley. Then Brahms. Down at the fence is Kimber Light Pipe. Then back to City West. Alea Eactus, Red Sea. Irish Prize trails this field. The opening quarter in 23 seconds flat. Wake at Noon flaunting his speed. Bailey has a firm success planted at Wake at Noon's flank. Hard Currency is in a third position. Numerous times is fourth. Dawson's Legacy saves ground with less than a half mile to run. The opening half mile in 45-3. Wake at Noon, his agenda set. He's playing Catch Me If You Can. A firm success and a perfect stalking position. On the outside, here comes Slough Valley with an energetic run for Mario Pino as they come to the top of the stretch. Wake at Noon, a firm success. Hard Currency, Slough Valley, Quiet Resolve on the far outside. Numerous times is set down. It is a firm success as they come to the final furlong. On the outside is Slough Valley. Here comes numerous times a firm success, put to an all-out drive. Numerous times Quiet Resolve. Irish Prize has come from 14th. They're running out of ground here. A firm success, and numerous times, and Quiet Resolve in a gut-wrenching photo finish.
numerous times, remaining undefeated with a terrific effort near the front end every step of the way. He sat behind horses in a perfect trip under Pat Husbands on this big, wide, sweeping course of the turf course out there. Is a very big course. It's outside of the main track, and this horse certainly loves it. Favorite in the field, lukewarm favorite at over 3-1, a Firm Success, finishing in the second spot after pressing the early pace. He pressed the pace of Wake at Noon, and a fairly quick pace it was. The second fraction there is probably what caused some of the other pace pressers to fail. Jerry Bailey keeps a Firm Success up there, losing this one by just a nose. It was a head bob back to Quiet Resolve, one of the better Canadian horses in the last few years, finishing in the third spot, rebounding after a disappointing performance last time out under Todd Cable. Irish Prize, who was the favorite on the morning line, breaking from a far outside post position under Gary Stevens for Neil Drysdale, had to settle for the fourth spot in here, but the betting public was just about right on this one. All of the single-digit horses running in the top 6 spots, the long shots all running from there behind. So it was certainly a race that was, at least appeared to be figurable. But this horse numerous times remains unbeaten. I would have to assume that there is a likelihood that the Breeders' Cup Mile will be in his future, having already beaten a Firm Success, a very good turf miler in his own right. The winner numerous times is a 4-year-old bay colt by Numerous, from Dramatical by Theatrical. Bred in Ontario by Patrick Ballantyne Estate. He is owned by Committee Stable and trained by Sid Attard. Ridden to victory by Pat Husbands. Numerous times completes the 1 mile on the Woodbine turf course in a new course record, 1:32.3. Next, we're going to be heading to Turfway Park in Kentucky, which has begun its fall meeting for the Turfway Park Fall Championship, a Grade $300,000 event going 1 1/8 miles. Let's head down to Turfway for the call of the Fall Championship.
At the post. And they're off. Storm Day breaks sharply for the lead. The inside, Advanced Edition. Then from the outside, Generous Rosie, followed by Tilt Tam, Jadada, and Connected. As the move for the first turn, it's Generous Rosie who moves by and gets the lead. Opens at 1.5 lengths. Storm Day is second. To the outside, Jadada moves into third. Then Advanced Edition, Tilt Tam. 6 back to the trailer, Connected. 23 4 for the opening quarter. Generous Rosie has a 2-length lead. Then Storm Day and Jadada, those two right together, gap of 4. Up on the outside, Tilt Tam with Advanced Edition and the trailer, Connected. Down the back stretch, Generous Rosie leads now by 1.5 lengths. Jadada second ahead. Storm Day on the inside, third by 5. Tilt Tam is now fourth. 2.5 to Advanced Edition. 5 back to the trailer, Connected. The half went in 47-2. It's Generous Rosie continuing to lead, still 1.5 lengths. Through from the inside, Storm Day takes second ahead. Jadada on the outside third, then Tilt Tam, Advanced Edition, and Connected as they move for the stretch. Generous Rosie with a 2-length lead, Storm Day second, then Jadada on the outside third. In the final furlong, it's Generous Rosie who draws away, Storm Day second, then Jadada. Generous Rosie wins it by 4 lengths. Storm Day second, Jadada third.
Generous Rosie picking up a nice win here with a carefully meted out front end win with enough left to kick clear by 4 lengths under Lonnie Mesh. This is a horse that had been running quite capably in good allowance company. In fact, finishing a nice second behind Fajardo 2 races back. Very nice form for this one of late, and certainly did enjoy a nice clear front running trip. Storm Day rallying into the second spot. He was actually up close early, dropped back, and then re-rallied under John Cordes, the favorite. Jadada also in a stalking position throughout much of the running, finishing very strongly in the third spot, but no match for the winner. The winner, Generous Rosie is a 6-year-old bay horse who spent the beginning portion of his career entirely on turf. He began his career overseas with 25 turf starts, seems to have done actually improved at this late stage in his career. Now that he is running on the main track, he is actually a half-brother to a New York claiming horse named Bin Rosie, who has been a very capable claimer here in New York for several years. A half-brother sired by Generous from Come On Rosie by Valiar, bred in Great Britain by the Addison Racing Limited Incorporated. Generous Rosie is owned by the Flying Column Stable and Niall O'Callaghan, trained by Mr. O'Callaghan, and ridden to victory by Lonnie Mash. Generous Rosie completes the mile and an eighth on the main track at Turfway in 1:49 4. We're next going to be heading to the West Coast for Northern California's Bay Meadows Breeders' Cup Sprint. This is a Grade 3 $150,000 event, 6 furlongs for the older horses. Let's head out to Bay Meadows for the call of the Bay Meadows Breeders' Cup Sprint.
For the Bay Meadows Breeders' Cup Sprint. And there they go, smooth start for all four. Lexicon shoots out for the lead. You and You Alone comes away in second. Swept Overboard is outside of Righteous Richie. It's Lexicon with a 1.5 length lead. Swept Overboard to the far outside, covering Righteous Richie. You and You Alone right behind the leader. It's Lexicon with the lead. He is unchallenged through the opening quarter, and his lead is more than a 1.5 lengths. Swept Overboard is battling for second, covering Righteous Richie. You and You Alone sticks with those two towards the rail. The opening quarter went in 22 3/8 to travel. Lexicon lengthens his lead to better than 2. Swept Overboard is clearly second, pursuing the pace setter. You and You Alone will battle for a minor award with Righteous Richie. The half went in 44 2. At the top of the lane in the Bay Meadows Breeders' Cup Sprint, the defending champion Lexicon maintains his advantage. Swept Overboard has a final furlong to gun him down. Lexicon keeps the lead. Swept Overboard shifts to the rail for the final 16. Lexicon, Swept Overboard, Lexicon, and Russell Bays. It's Lexicon back-to-back in the Bay Meadows Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Lexicon getting to the lead and going fast early and quickening late. Lexicon had been shipped to the East Coast. I don't think the East Coast tracks really suited him very well. Richard Mandella decided to bring him back to the West Coast, and he has been an improving horse out there, picking up a very nice win here. Not getting a whole lot of early challenge. He was pressed by Swept Overboard, who held on nicely for the second spot. In fact, was rallying slightly, but was outfinished in the kick in the final 16th or so. It was a long way back, 8 lengths or so to You and You Alone in the third spot. Fourth and final finisher was Riotous Richie, completing the order of the race. The winner, Lexicon, is a 6-year-old chestnut horse. He was a son of Conquistador Cielo from Philidia by Golden Fleece. Bred in Kentucky by Mr. and Mrs. Jerry Moss. He is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Moss, trained by Richard Mandella, and ridden to victory by Russell Bays. Lexicon completes the 6 furlongs of the Bay Meadows Sprint in 1:07 4. Next, we're going to be heading down to Southern California for the Del Mar Futurity, the final graded stakes race of their season. This is a Grade 2, $250,000, 7-furlong event for the juveniles, of course, featuring Officer, the horse that everybody wanted to get out of California to avoid. Let's take a look now at last Wednesday's Del Mar Futurity.
Feel for the Del Mar Futurity sent on their way. Metatron coming away very nicely. Cam Sack is getting up to race second, and Historic Speech coming through at the rail. Officer was away very smoothly. An Officer in the white blinkers on the far side, a 1.5 lengths off the leaders, and Striking Song will be the early trailer. Past the 5/8 they go, and Metatron leads them by a length. In the second spot comes Cam Sack. Down at the rail, Historic Speech, and Officers in the centre of the track, still only 2 lengths off these leaders. Then another 3 back to Striking Song. Past the half-mile they go in the Del Mar Futurity, and Metatron leads them by just over a length. Historic Speech is coming through down at the rail. Cam Sack a close-up third. Officer is in the 4th position, 2.5 off these leaders, and then back to Striking Song.
They're approaching the 5/16ths, and Metatron kicks on for home with Kamsack, and now Officer starting his run on the outside. Historic speech and striking song. A quarter of a mile left to go, and here's the white blinkers of Officer now taking the lead. Kamsack and Metatron are both running their hearts out, but Victor Espinosa's very confident, and Officer is just keeping away from them. An eighth of a mile to go, and Officer in front. Kamsack is all hot down at the rail, but look at Officer again. He never even blew out a candle here. Officer just trotting home. A very impressive winner. Kamsack will be second, then came Metatron.
And it was Officer, the horse they were trying to avoid, proving why they're trying to avoid him as the heavy 1-10 favorite. He picks up a length and a half win over Kamsack at 7.5 to 1, who picked up the second spot with after a bumping start. He pulled a bit in the early going and did lug in at about the 8th pole. He was clearly second best, 3.5 lengths the better of Metatron, who was able to set the early pace, but was not able to hold on at all when Officer, from a stalking position, made a sweeping 3-wide move completely in hand and cleared the field. Victor Espinosa simply holding on for the ride on this horse, who just looks like he is really a superb horse as of right now. It has to be assumed that he is the leader of the juvenile division. Things can change very quickly, of course, but Officer certainly does appear to have a stranglehold right now on the top of his division. Metatron, early pace setter here, had tried running at this horse before. He had also tried running at Come Home. Obviously not quite up to that standard, but certainly a nice enough 2-year-old out in California. The winner, Officer, is a 2-year-old dark bay or brown son of Bertrando from St. Helen's Shadow by Septième Ciel. Bred in California by Mr. and Mrs. Marty Wygott. He is owned by the Thoroughbred Corporation, trained by Bob Baffert, ridden to victory by Victor Espinosa. Officer completes the 7 furlongs of the Del Mar Futurity in 1:22.1. Next, we're going to be heading back to New York to Belmont Park, where things got kicked off for the fall championship meeting with New York breds in the General Douglas MacArthur Handicap. $75,000 for 3-year-olds and up, going 7 furlongs. Of course, the race marred by the scratch of, say, Florida Sandy, who had been assigned a high weight of 127 pounds. Nonetheless, it still turned out to be a very good field of New York breds. Let's head down to Belmont for their opening day stakes, the MacArthur Handicap.
They're in the gate, and they're off. Impeach the Pro jumps out to the lead. John Paul II got off to a good start. John Paul II and Impeach the Pro to vie for the early lead, and Pure Harmony right there, up and in between them. And then it's No Bad Habits who's come out 4th. Mount Intrepid back 5th, and 3 lengths back to the trailer, Duplicitous. Impeach the Pro up for the lead by a neck, but Pure Harmony continues to run with him. Those two dueling through a quarter in 23 2/5 seconds. No Bad Habits is a stalking third. No Bad Habits now moving to join the leaders on the outside. John Paul II sits back in 4th, followed by Mount Intrepid 5th and Duplicitous. Around the far turn, Pure Harmony throws in the towel with 3 furlongs to go. Here's No Bad Habits coming up to engage Impeach the Pro, and those two hook up, and John Paul II just in behind them. Migliori asking more from John Paul II, and they take to the inside as Impeach the Pro floats No Bad Habits wide into the stretch. At the top of the stretch, Impeach the Pro, No Bad Habits, John Paul II to their inside. Impeach the Pro, full out game. John Paul II, relentless on the inside. John Paul II, head in front, Impeach the Pro. No Bad Habits battles on. John Paul II, No Bad Habits, Impeach the Pro. Here's the wire. John Paul II prevails. Prevails by a length and a quarter.
John Paul II in a terrific stalking trip here, just sitting right off of the pace, was able to slip through a big opening on the rail when the pace setters went wide. John Paul II just handily going through there and able to draw off a couple of lengths, about a length and a quarter the official margin of victory here under Richie Migliori. No Bad Habits, who was dropping back in distance. He had been quite competitive going a little bit longer, but showed that he had enough speed and enough guts to hold on after a contested early pace, held on to the second spot. Impeached the Pro, who dueled inside of No Bad Habits in the early going, weakened in the final furlong, and finished in the 3rd spot. The winner, John Paul II, had been off the racing scene for quite a while, had been training back up to this race since his last start in May. A nice effort here, though, from this horse who has returned to the races in good form off of layoffs in the past. John Paul II is a 4-year-old son of Sea Hero from She Is a Lady Too by Two's a Plenty. Bred in New York by Frank Stella, he is owned by Kimmel Solantz et al. And trained by John Kimmel. Ridden to victory by Richie Migliori. John Paul II completes the 7 furlongs of the General Douglas MacArthur in 1:23 and 4. We are going to pause now for a second message, and when we return, we'll be taking a look at the weekend stakes program from Belmont, as well as taking a trip overseas and taking a look at the Irish Champion Stakes as well. Please stay with us.
Do you remember Breeders' Cup 2000?
And it is going to be Spain to win it. 50-1 on the wire. Here's Platinum Tiara. Here's the line. Caressing. Here's the wire. War chant! War chant! It's Kona Gold in front, and Kona Gold has won it. To Sherman, second best. To Perfect Sting, the winner. Macho Uno coming on to take the lead as Point Given flies at him. Macho Uno veers out and finishes in a photo. Fantastic Light is coming too. Here comes John's Call. Here comes Colonisi. Quiet Resolve hangs tough. Here's the line. Colonisi collared him right at the wire. A heart-pounding, pulsating stretch drive, and Tisnow prevails. Tisnow has won it by a nose.
On Saturday, October 27th, Breeders' Cup 2001 returns to Belmont Park. You can watch and wager at any Capital OTB location.
Welcome back, everyone, to Horses and Courses. It was a star-studded weekend of racing at Belmont Park, kicking off the Fall Championship meeting, which, of course, will culminate with the Breeders' Cup Championship on the 27th of October. But we're getting things kicked off with a terrific weekend, including 4 Grade 1 stakes, beginning with the Gazelle, $250,000 Grade 1 for 3-year-old fillies. Well, let's head down to Belmont Park for the call of the Gazelle.
And they're off. Transcendental bounces out of there. There goes Fleet Renee. There goes Caressing, who's flashing speed today. And so too Starrer. Up the backstretch now. And it's Starrer out for a short lead. Fleet Renee is right there with her. And Caressing is wrangled back there by Renee Douglas to let the other two fight it out. Here comes Indy Pick through on her inside to be 4th. Exogenous is 5th. Transcendental close to the pace 6th. 2 Out Limit is 7th on the outside. She's only about 3 lengths from the lead. Very tight pack down the backstretch. A break of 6 to Stretch Running Real Cozy. The opening quarter went in 23 1/5 seconds. Down the backstretch now, Indy Pick has come through on the inside. Starrer is right there. Fleet Renee, 2, and Caressing. It's a 4-way scramble for the lead here with 5 furlongs to go. The opening half went in 45 4/5 seconds. And it is Fleet Renee who's now taken the lead as the field rounds the far turn. 4 furlongs to go here. Fleet Renee is in front, but plenty of company is there for her. Starrer to the inside. Transcendental is also right there. On the far outside, Long Shot, 2 Item Limit. Exogenous is in with the fighting chance. She's only 3 lengths from the lead. Indy Pick has dropped out of it. So too has Caressing. Real Cozy getting underway as the field turns for home. It's Fleet Renee at the top of the stretch in front by length. A seam for Exogenous down toward the inside. 2 Idle Limit fighting on the far outside. Transcendental, Starrer has faded. Here comes Exogenous. Exogenous has taken over. Fleet Renee, no fight left. 2 Item Limit on the outside. Coming down to the finish. It is Exogenous. 9-1 to win it by 3 lengths, and it's a close photo for second there. 2 Item Limit may have nosed out Fleet Renee for the runner-up spot.
Exogenous finally gets the Grade 1 win that she has been so close to in the past. This is a filly who had run 3 consecutive on-the-board finishes in Grade 1 company against the very best in her division. finally getting exactly the setup that she needed. The pace was just aggressive enough in front of her. Javier Castellano keeps her fairly close in this position. She actually added blinkers, a new piece of equipment that kept her a little closer to the pace, and she seemed to like it with a terrific move in close fairly early. She was in between horses, made a nice move into the stretch, and drew clear by 3.5 lengths at over 9-1. 2-item limit. Rallies from well off the pace after a 5-wide move to just nip Fleet Renee, the heavy favorite at odds on in the field for the place spot. Fleet Renee, a tiring third in here. She had stalked the early pace set by Starrer. When Starrer dropped out, Fleet Renee was rather left up there on the lead. I don't think that's usually her best running style. She generally does her best running from off the pace. I think that a little bit of a keyed up attitude from her, in part due to her layoff, probably cost her when it came to the drive, but certainly Exogenous. At the odds of 9-1, certainly looked like a filly that at any point could break through. The addition of blinkers, we saw that work for Mr. Schulhofer a couple of years ago with Lemon Drop Kid, and it seems to be very successful here with Exogenous. Exogenous, a 3-year-old gray or roan daughter of Unbridled from Tangled Up in Blue by Phone Trick, was bred in Kentucky by the Centaur Farm. She is owned by Centaur Farm and trained by Mr. Flint S. Scotty Schulhofer, ridden to victory by Javier Castellano. Exogenous completes the mile in an 1/8 and the Gazelle in 1:47.3. Saturday's stakes racing program continues with the Grade 1 Man o' War. This is a $500,000 mile and 3/8 turf event. Drew an international field. In fact, I would dare say that there were more frequent flyer miles in this race than in just about any other outside of Breeders' Cup competition that I have seen in a long, long time. Let's head down to Belmont Park now for the call of Saturday's Man o' War.
And they're off. Ella Athena breaks in stride from her inside post. Fuchaisi Zanan is there. So too is Mutafawek, and with anticipation on the far outside as they make their way to the clubhouse turn. Silvano gets a good spot early. He tucks in behind the leader's 5th. Glenborn alongside him 6x2. Then Just Listen and Zaphonic Song at the back of the pack. With Anticipation has taken the lead. With Anticipation now clears by 1.5 lengths. Fusaichi Zanan is second, and Ella Athena, who broke on top, is now taken back to run in third. She's on the inside of Glenborn. It's another 2.5 back to Silvano and Mutafa Huek. A break of another 3 back to Just Listen, and 5 lengths back to Zaphonic Song, the trailer. With Anticipation through an opening quarter that goes in 24 3/5 seconds. Fusaichi Zanan, very eager to go. Gary Stevens has a handful of him. The half goes in 50 seconds flat. The pace has been a comfortable one here for With Anticipation. Just nursed along on the lead. Fusaichi Zanan right alongside, still well in hand. Ella Athena continues on the inside of Glenborn. 2 lengths back, Arlington Million winner Silvano racing along in 5th, about 5 lengths from the lead. Now Jerry Bailey wanting a bit more from Mutafa Wek with 5 furlongs to go. Then Just Listen and Zaphonic Song. It is still With Anticipation the leader. Fusaichi Zanan has been with them the whole way. Glenborn, Ella Athena has enjoyed a ground-saving trip throughout. Mutafa Wek is now 5th on the outside. Silvano's only 3.5 lengths from the lead. Then Just Listen, as still trailing the field is Zaphonic Song. Less than 3 furlongs to go. With Anticipation and Fusaichi Zanan. They are inseparable as they move toward the top of the stretch. Glenborn is there. Ella Athena looking for a way off the rail. Silvano is right there in behind the lead. In behind Fusaichi Zanan. They straighten away for the run into the final furlong. With Anticipation still there, holding on to the lead. Fusaichi Zanan. Silvano cut loose. Ella Athena toward the rail, still chasing the big gray With Anticipation. Silvano with the final try, but With Anticipation does it wire to wire. 3 lengths ahead of Silvano and Ella Athena.
With Anticipation, this horse has really turned over a new leaf since going on to the turf. He was a nice mid-level kind of a low-level stakes type of horse in the Mid-Atlantic for several years, and at the age of 6, they tried him on the turf, and he has now earned 2 consecutive Grade 1 wins. He did lose one Grade 1 win by the disqualification down in New Jersey in the United Nations a couple of races back, but since that time has just run them off their feet on the front. Gets to the front rather handily and ends up putting them to sleep under Pat Day. Has enough left to kick clear, and as you see in the drive, he seems to accelerate, quickens very nicely at about the 8th pole, as Silvano, the recent winner of the Arlington Million out in the Midwest, comes on for a nice effort to finish second rather, as the favorite, finishing in the 3rd spot, International Traveling Filly, Ella Athena, running a far better effort here than she had run in Saratoga. The heat and humidity of the middle portion of the month of August really was a drain on this filly. She appeared to be much fresher down at Belmont Park on Saturday. With Anticipation, very interesting move, kind of a reverse cigar, going from dirt to turf and turning into a true Grade 1 hero. With Anticipation, a 6-year-old Gray Orone Gelding, a son of relaunch from Franz Valentine by Saros. He is owned by the Augustin Stable. He was trained by Augustin Stable's George Strawbridge Jr. in Pennsylvania. Trained by Jonathan Shepard, ridden to victory by Pat Day for the 2nd consecutive time in Grade 1 company. With Anticipation, completes the mile and 3/8 on the firm turf in 2:15 flat. Next, of course, the Grade 1 Woodward, $500,000, a mile and 1/8 for 3-year-olds and up, a much anticipated race. Only 5 go into the starting gate, but just about everybody that really counted in this kind of company at this class level was there. Even, of course, the return of the reigning Horse of the Year, Tiz Now. Let's head down to Belmont Park now for the call of the Woodward.
And they're off. Albert the Great in stride immediately. And Tiz Now got off to a good start as well, with Lido Palace in behind them. Red Bullet down toward the inside, and Country Begold. The field moving out of the chute and onto the main track now, and they are engaged early. Albert the Great on the outside of Tiz Now. Lido Palace a tracking 3rd. And Chris McCarron takes a good hold of Tiz Now. He is conceding the early lead to Albert the Great. Tiz Now back in hand, running along in 2nd. Jerry Bailey right up on the pace with Lido Palace. And then Red Bullet, who is settled about 5 lengths from front-running Albert the Great. Country Begold at the back of the pack. The first quarter went in 23 4/5 seconds. Sensible enough. Albert the Great holding that lead. Tiz Now took a little bit of a run at him there. It is Albert the Great by neck. Tiz Now to his inside, and just off them it's Lido Palace, who continues to track the pace in 3rd. The half 46 3/5 seconds. Legitimate fractions. Red Bullet remains in 4th. Around the far turn now, and Albert the Great has asked for a bit more run. He's well off the rail, and he is in front by a length. Tiz Now, Horse of the Year, 2nd on the inside. Lido Palace, still a threat on the outside 3rd. Red Bullet doing his best. He's still 5 lengths behind. And the field turning for home in the Woodward. Albert the Great in front. Huge opening for Tiz Now. And Chris McCarron is asking Tiz Now for everything he has. Here comes Lido Palace. Albert the Great. Lido Palace. Tiz Now. Headlong into the final furlong. Albert the Great. Narrow lead. Lido Palace surging to him. Tiz Now, not today. Down to the finish. Lido Palace surges to win the Woodward, and a pumped-up Jerry Bailey aboard. Albert the Great and Tiz Now.
Lido Palace picking up his 2nd consecutive win, beating Albert the Great for the 2nd time. He won the Whitney up at Saratoga towards the beginning of the Saratoga meet, came back down to Belmont, and was the beneficiary of a perfect setup. Tiz Now a little bit keen in the early going, perhaps a little bit less relaxed than usual off of his long layoff. Albert the Great jumps out as usual to a nice lead. Tiz Now, under Chris McCarron, goes up and engages him. I did anticipate that he would be a little keen. He was. He pressed a little bit. Albert the Great and Tiz Now both running out somewhat from the rail. And Lido Palace, sitting in the perfect stalking trip, made a nice move and just absolutely blew them away by about a length. He does tend to be a horse that gets to the front and gets a little bit looky, but Jerry Bailey timed it perfectly, picking up a 1-length win over the king of Belmont Park, Albert the Great, with it is now the reigning horse of the year, back in the 3rd spot. Disappointing in this field was Red Bullet. Red Bullet was a horse that, of course, last year's Preakness winner, had been out on layoff for quite some time, returned victorious in Allowance Company at Saratoga, but he really did not get out of the game in particularly good order, and then never really improved his position at all. In fact, Country Be Gold, who was outrun in the early going, was able to rally past him in the drive. So we have now possibly a new leader of the older horse division. Would be my guess. Lido Palace, interestingly enough, is a young horse. He's his fourth birthday on the calendar will not come until the 24th of September. He is a Southern Hemisphere 4-year-old, and just a very impressive effort by this young developing horse when he came into Frankel's barn a few months ago after his try overseas in the United Arab Emirates. I thought that this horse had a very strong possibility of being next year's Horse of the Year, but the way he has improved since arriving in Bobby Frankel's barn, you just never know. He might beat me by a year. Lido Palace, a very impressive 4-year-old son of Rich Man's Gold from Sonata by quick decision, was bred in Chile by the Haras Figueron. He is owned by Misters John and Jerome Ammerman, trained by Bobby Frankel, ridden to victory by Jerry Bailey. Lido Palace completes the 1 1/8 at Belmont Park in 1:47 2. We're not done with stakes races yet from Belmont Park. Believe it or not, Belmont Park continued their stakes racing program on Sunday with another pair of stakes races, starting with the Floral Park Handicap, a sprint race for 3-year-olds and up fillies and mares. Let's take a look at Sunday's Floral Park Handicap.
And they're off. It's Miss Steffens who breaks together with Dat You Miss Blue. Miss Steffens, quicker from the gate than Dat You Miss Blue. These two have opened up 3 already on Gold Mover, make that 4 already on Gold Mover. Then farther back, Catch Me If You Can is running 4th already, 10 lengths from the dueling leaders. Hattiesburg and Finder's Fee as they round the far turn. Dat You Miss Blue has come through to take the lead. They zip through a quarter in 22 seconds flat. She and Miss Steffens. It's Dat You Miss Blue. Dat You Miss Blue, a narrow lead. Miss Steffens continues to run with her. Second by another 5. Catch Me If You Can is a rallying third. Gold Mover 4th. Another 5 to Finder's Fee. As the field turns for home, it is Dat You Miss Blue who comes off the turn. She has shrugged off Miss Steffens. Gold Mover down toward the inside. On the outside, Catch Me If You Can. Finder's Fee is hitting her best stride at the 8th pole. Here comes Gold Mover. Gold Mover driving up on the inside of Dat You Miss Blue. Catch Me If You Can, Miss Steffens and Finder's Fee. Gold Mover's got it. Gold Mover rides the rails to victory. A 2.5 length win over Dat You Miss Blue. Farther back, it's close for third. Finder's Fee and Miss Steffens.
Gold Mover returned to the races last time out with a 2nd place finish in Canada and ships down to New York and picks up the ungraded Floral Park Handicap in very impressive style at long odds, 13 to 1, 2.5 lengths the better of the speedy Dat You Miss Blue, with Finder's Fee closing and closing and closing, but not quite able to get there. She falls short by about 3/4 of a length of the place spot. Gold Mover, of course, one of the better 2-year-olds last year, has been out of commission for a good part of this year, but seems to be returning to the races. It looks like, it looks like Mark Hennig has decided to keep her in sprint company. I'm actually a little surprised that the Floral Park is still an ungraded race. It has certainly drawn graded type of fields for the last several years, but this race certainly shaped up very well with some good speedy fillies in here. Dat You Miss Blue coming under pressure early, holding on for the 2nd spot as the odds-on choice. The winner, Gold Mover, a 3-year-old chestnut daughter of Gold Fever from Intentional Move by Tentem, was bred in Kentucky by her owner, Edward P. Evans, trained by Mark Hennig, ridden to victory by Edgar Prado. Gold Mover completes the 6 furlongs of the Floral Park in 1:10 flat. We're back to graded stakes company, Grade 1 stakes. In fact, in the Garden City Breeders' Cup Handicap. This is for 3-year-old fillies going 1 1/8 on the turf. Let's head back down to Belmont Park for the call of the Garden City Breeders' Cup Handicap.
Ready for the start. And they're off. And Voodoo Dancer breaks alertly on the far outside. Shooting Party trying to clear the field as they hit the clubhouse turn, and she's done it. It is Shooting Party out there now and on the rail with the lead. Wonder Mom runs along in second. Zonk is third, followed by Ellie's Moment fourth. And Voodoo Dancer is down on the inside now, fifth, about 6 lengths from the lead, followed closely by Osley running along in seventh. Fiddle is eighth. Light Dancer is ninth on the outside. Then it's Mystic Sun, and Shepherd's Watch was off to a hesitant start. Is the trailer. The opening quarter went in 24 seconds flat. They're moving down the backstretch now. Shooting Party breezing along, coasting comfortably, a length and a half ahead of Zonk. Wonder Mom down toward the inside. Light Dancer's made quick progress now. Light Dancer is just off the pace now, running in fourth, followed by Ellie's Moment fifth. Voodoo Dancer continues to sit back 6 lengths from the lead. Osley's on the far outside. The half in 48 2/5 seconds. It's been easy going so far for Shooting Party. Shooting Party coasting uncontested so far. Zonk trying to mount a bid now. Light Dancer is there, 3 wide. Wonder Mom down toward the rail. Voodoo Dancer in behind a wall of 3 horses. Just to her outside, it's Osley racing 6th. On the far outside, Shepherd's Watch is launching a bid, followed by Mystic Sun. The field turns for home. It's Shooting Party still there. Wonder Mom to the attack, and Voodoo Dancer's in the clear, and here comes Voodoo Dancer. She's kicking in. Voodoo Dancer up to take the lead just inside the 8th pole. Shooting Party second, Wonder Mom third, and they're coming down to the finish, and Voodoo Dancer turned it on in the final furlong and runs away to a 5.5 length win over Shooting Party and Wonder Mom.
Voodoo Dancer. Corey Nakatani in for the mount here on this filly, the favorite for Christophe Clement, who has shipped this horse back and forth across the country to California a couple of times. Back in New York, picking up a 4 3/4 length victory here. After a bumpy beginning, she came wide. Very sharp acceleration, under a hand ride to win. Shooting Party, the early pace setter in here, was quickly to the front. She set the pace throughout and held on quite gamely through the stretch. Wonder Mom, filly who had been running against very good company last winter down in Florida, appeared in New York up at Saratoga last time out, picking up a nice on-the-board finish. Again, lives up to overperforms expectations, going off at 10-1 and finishing in the 3rd spot with a nice stalking trip. Perhaps used a little bit hard in the going early, chasing Shooting Party. The winner, Voodoo Dancer, is a 3-year-old bay filly, a daughter of King Mambo from Zuri by Danzig. Bred in Kentucky by the Lazy E Ranch, she is owned by Green Hills Farm, trained by Christophe Clement. Ridden to victory by Corey Nakatani. Voodoo Dancer completes the 1 1/8 on the turf course in 1:47 3. We have one further race to bring you. Next, we're going to be heading overseas to Ireland to Leopardstown Racecourse for the running of the Irish Champion Stakes, a $1 million event, 3-year-olds and up, going 1.25 miles. This is a race, of course, highlighted by both Fantastic Light and Galileo. Galileo going into the race unbeaten. He has already beaten Fantastic Light. Fantastic Light, of course, winner of last year's United Arab Emirates Emirates Racing Series, trying to defend that title. Let's head over to Leopardstown now for the call of the Irish Champion.
They're all ready, they're racing, this is it. They're off to a good start, although away slowly from the inside gate. Ice Dancer, he quickly buries up on the lead, and Give the Slip goes with him. Fantastic Light's positioned in 3rd, and Galileo's right at his girth. Now behind them is Bark, Siren Gas, and Chimes at Midnight last of all. These 2 pacemakers burning along in front, and it's one by himself at the moment. Ice Dancer by 4, Give the Slip lets him go away. 3 lengths to Fantastic Light, and Galileo right at his loins. Next, Siren Gas, the filly, travelling on the fence well, followed by Bark, and Chimes at Midnight last of all. The leader goes past the 7 furlong marker, that's 1,400 to go, and Ice Dancer out by at least 5 to 6 lengths. Give the Slip is second, Fantastic Light third, at least 10 off the leader. Now Canane's dropped in to get the card on the back of Dettori with Galileo. Next then Bark, Siren Gas, and Chimes at Midnight last of all. 11.50 out as they run off the back, and he's gone well clear, the pacemaker Ice Dancer. He's at least 8 in front. Give the Slip is second, Fantastic Light 3 lengths off him. Galileo's got the sit on Fantastic Light today at the 1,000-metre mark. Next, Siren Gas. Bark Chimes at Midnight last of all. Ice Dancer's gone further in front. He's nearly 10 clear to give the slip. Fantastic Light patiently fall off them. Galileo's his shadow. They go clear now from Bark, Siren Gas, and last of all off the bridle, Chimes at Midnight. On the corner, he's pushed out in front. Ice Dancer at the 600 leads by 8 lengths. Next is Give the Slip. Now Galileo sliding up outside Fantastic Light. They're going to have to push on together. Fantastic Light's gone to the inside. Galileo's gone to the outside. They run the corner. Ice Dancer's in front, but he's off the bridle. Fantastic Light's trying to cut him back. He's coming quickly with Galileo. They're at it again. The two great champions sweep up to the lead. Fantastic Light got a length break. Galileo's coming at him. The great Galileo comes after Fantastic Light. 150 out. It never gets better. Fantastic Light. Galileo's fighting at him. Fantastic Light the inside. What a race. The race of the world. Fantastic Light. The Emirates World Champion wins it.
And it was Fantastic Light this time able to keep about a head or so in front of a very game Galileo. Early pace setter went out, Ice Dancer went out, set the pace, opened up a huge, huge lead. But you heard the announcer call midway down the stretch. He had come off the bridle. He was backing up quickly. And the stage was set for Fantastic Light and Galileo coming around the final turn. Those two hooked up, Fantastic Light to the inside, Galileo to the camera side, and the two of them just nip and tuck all the way down through the final, approximately a half a mile of the race, little under a half a mile. Two of them both very, very game competitors. Frankie Dettori victorious, however, on Fantastic Light, turning the tables after his very short defeat to Galileo last time out. It was Bach rallying into the third spot from rather far off of the pace. Another terrific effort from Fantastic Light, certainly a game effort, suffering defeat for the first time by Galileo, but certainly very gallant in defeat. It does appear that both of these horses will be heading to Breeders' Cup Company. Both connections have indicated that they feel that their horses are better at 1.25 miles than 1.5 miles, and that as a result of that, they will both be expected to take on Breeders' Cup competition, not in the Breeders' Cup Turf, but in the Breeders' Cup Classic. So we'll have to see how these horses train up to this event. Hopefully we will have an opportunity to see if these horses are handling the turf before they're handling the main track, rather, before they both venture onto the dirt surface for the first time in competition. But both of these horses, certainly international travelers. Fantastic Light has run just about everywhere that racing is offered. Of course, he was victorious in last year's Man o' War before suffering a defeat in the Turf Classic. But he is certainly a game world traveler, a 5-year-old son of Rahi. Just fires every single time. Certainly does appear to be in terrific condition heading into this fall series, and it certainly will be very, very interesting to see both of these super horses heading into Breeders' Cup competition, both being asked to do something that they've never done for the first time against some very stiff competition. But it certainly will make that final weekend in the month of October at Belmont Park a very, very exciting one. Final time for the Irish Champion Stakes at 1.25 miles, a very good time, 2:01.4. That does wrap up our look at stakes racing action from around the country and around the world. A couple of trips outside the United States, one of course north of the border to Canada, and of course to Leopardstown in Ireland. We do hope you've enjoyed the program, and we hope you'll be able to join us next week when, among other things, from New York, we will have the Belmont Breeders' Cup Handicap on turf, the Jerome for 3-year-olds, the Ruffian for 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares, as well as 2 juvenile stakes, the Futurity and the Matron. Kentucky Downs will be hosting the Kentucky Cup Turf Division next weekend, so we'll have a great deal of turf racing to bring to you in addition to stakes racing from around the country. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm Jean Wood. I hope to see you back here next time.